Shanti. We'll begin our session for today. So this is your philosophy and pranayama class. So sit comfortably wherever you are. Keep your back and neck straight. And when you feel ready, very gently close your eyes. Just start observing your breath. Watch the natural flow of your breathing as you inhale and as you exhale. Now slowly shift your attention to your body. Become aware of your posture. Adjust your body so that your posture is aligned. You are comfortable and stable. Now gently come back to your breathing and begin to deepen your breath, going for slow, long and deep inhalations, slow, long and deep exhalations. We will open today's session with one Om chanting followed by the Guru mantra. Take a deep breath in for Om. Om. Guru Brahma Gurudevo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Take a deep breath in for Om. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Just feel the vibrations. Join both your palms together, begin to rub your palms. Keep them on your eyes. Very slowly, while blinking and looking at your palms, begin to open up your eyes. Come back with a big smile. Om Shanti. Namaste. So let's begin our session for today. So this is your philosophy and Namaste. Om Shanti. So This is your philosophy and pranayam class. So for the first half of the class we will talk about yoga philosophy, and then we are going to discuss pranayam, some practice, a particular practice, and then we are going to go for the practical session. So let's begin with philosophy only. In the previous few sessions we have covered the meaning, the definition of yoga, we have covered the origination of yoga, the development history of yoga, and today we are coming to a very important topic which will help you greatly, because yoga is all about implementation, right? This knowledge, if you just have the knowledge, there's not a lot of benefit you will gain out of it. Like this people, take PhDs, take so many degrees, but it's only of importance to you if you are able to implement it, right? So when you enter yogic practices, you actually start making a lifestyle change, right? So what is your lifestyle supposed to be like when you are a yoga practitioner, right? So today's topic of discussion is actually yogic lifestyle for a practitioner, right? So lifestyle is nothing but how we live. Each and every habit that we inculcate every day, it turns into a behavior, an attitude, and then that in turn turns into your entire life, right? So each and everything you do every day, right? If you begin to change that in a more conducive way, right? So it should energize you, you should feel excited, your body should have the apt amount of strength to do all the work that you're supposed to do, your mind should also have that strength, right? So lifestyle is nothing but a combination of all the habits that we do every day, and these habits should only lead to our betterment, right? So a lifestyle choice is called unhealthy or bad when it leads to a downward graph, right? Where your current position, and once you follow that thing, your final position, it is like it has degraded, right? So when we look at the lifestyle from a yogic point of view, we are trying to enhance the quality of our life, right? So the first very major point that comes under lifestyle is actually your food, right? So in Sanskrit we call it ahar, A-H-A-R-A, ahar, or food, right? So food forms a very major part of our lives, right? Most of our day, I don't know about you guys, so when we were in lockdown in my house, since the morning the discussion used to start. What do you want to have in breakfast? What do you want to have in lunch? What do you want to have in dinner? And the entire day was either gone discussing what we want to eat, or cooking what we wanted to eat, or actually eating what we had cooked, right? So food influences a great part of our life, right? So majority of our day goes like thinking about or consuming food, right? So it is a back subconscious thought that is in our mind all the time, right? So food, now when we talk of a yogic lifestyle and we are taking the example of food or the topic of food, of course we are going to move towards a direction where the food that we consume, it's better for our health, right? So in modern terms, you can say that you need to consume a balanced diet, right? Where all the necessary nutrients for your body, they are given to the body, right? Carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, minerals, all of these things are very necessary. So to someone who is not believing too much into what yoga says about it, very simple explanation for a common person is go for a balanced diet, right? At least your body should get some quantity of everything, right? So, but coming to, because we are in yoga philosophy class, we have to discuss in depth what yoga has to say, right? So yoga in general talks about food, and it talks about the quantity and the quality of the food, right? So in yogic terms, we can say there is a concept called mit ahar, M-I-T, mit, and then ahar, A-H-A-R-A, right? So let me first only break down the term, only what the term is trying to say. So mit, this term, it means sweet, okay? So essentially the English translation, you can see it is sweet food, right? So now you think that, okay, every day everybody tells me, eat less sweet. What is yoga doing, right? Why is it asking me to eat more sweet, right? So it's the literal translation, but there is a very hidden meaning behind this term myth, and that is actually how many times you chew your food, right? So literal translation is sweet, but if you see, most of the times when we eat the food, right, we're not chewing it ample amount of times, right? We are just gulping down our food. We want to eat so fast. We don't have that kind of, time in our lives where everything we do in our lives, it is so that there is warm food on our table. And when we actually get to the activity of eating food, we are, doing it wrong, right? We are rushing through it. Everything you are doing in life, it's so that there is food, right? There is no lack of food. And this is where you change the quality of how you consume it, right? So ideally speaking, you should chew the food 32 times, right? Now it will seem like a very large number. You will get bored chewing one bite 32 times. It's quite boring, right? So it will take you very long to eat your food also. So it might not be feasible for all of you, right? So what you can start to do is, if right now you are suppose taking 5 bites, you can at least move towards 7, 8, if you can go for 10, right? So this breakdown of food is very, very important, right? When we talk of chewing the food properly, there is proper science behind this thing, right? The more you chew the food, right, the better digestion will take place, because the digestion starts from the mouth, right? When the saliva, it mixes with the food, right? This proper mixing takes place when you give chewing time, right? Otherwise, the task of whatever digestion was supposed to take place in the mouth, when that is transferred to the stomach, then the stomach struggles to digest that, and indigestion is caused, or so many digestive issues are taking place these days, right? So simplest solution, start chewing your food more times, right? Saliva has a lot of enzymes which breaks down the food. So when you chew the food properly, it becomes sweet in your mouth, right? So now sweet meaning that the quality of the food changes. So when you chew so many times, 32 times, you can experiment with one bite, right? It will become sweet in your mouth, and this sweetness is actually indicative of the alkaline nature of the food, right? So today the entire world is running towards alkaline foods, right? They want to add those more to the diet, right? And the thing is that every food you consume, if you chew it properly, the mixing of the saliva, the breakdown, everything, the quality of the food will become alkaline in your mouth. So you don't have to go out and get alkaline food, right? Everything you consume can acquire that quality if you just change the number of times you are chewing that food, right? So today's task for you is this only. At least for one meal, give chewing time, right? See the kind of change that comes into your own digestive process, how you feel about the food that you have consumed. Sometimes, we eat very fast and then we feel very heavy in the stomach, right? So this is a very practical change that I'm telling you. You can increase from where you are today to at least a higher number, right? And slowly you can aim to reach the count of 32 maybe someday, right? So first thing is this, quality of the food, right? Then I also talked about the quantity. So 𝐘𝐸 says that, it has divided. If right now you are taking 4 portions of the food, then 𝐘𝐸 says that you should reduce it to half. So your stomach, it should at all times be half empty, okay? So if right now you are taking 4 portions of a particular dish, or you are taking 4 rotis, right? So you can reduce it down to 2, right? 1/4 of your stomach will remain for water, all right? So when we consume water, again it fills some space in our stomach. So we leave 1/4 of the space, yes, water. yeah, why not? Yeah, sure. So 1/4 of the space in the stomach at all times is left for the consumption of water, okay? And then 1/4 of the space is left for air, right? So at all times 1/4 is for water, 1/4 is for air. So essentially when we look at this breakdown, 1/4 always remains empty, right? And again, when you eat till here, you feel like sleeping after eating the food. So what is the food doing? It's taking away your energy. And food is essentially consumed to give us energy to do the work, right? So when we start changing these little things in our consumption patterns only. So right now I'm not even asking you to shift from junk food to, very healthy food, right? If you just reduce the quantity of the junk food that you are eating, only half of the stomach is full with junk food, right? Then also you will start seeing changes, right? Other changes might seem a little bit higher level, and they will come with time only. I will also say that in case of food, never force yourself. If you stop or suppress a craving, right, the next time when that craving will come in, you will probably end up having double the quantity of what you would have had in the first craving, right? So suppression in case of food, it does not help. What you can do is take the steps which are most practical for you. So I am going to give you multiple things that you can work on, but start doing the things which are the most appealing to you, and slowly you will be led to a point where you can accommodate or implement more things related to food in your life, right? Even I am a very big fan of food, so even it has taken me a lot of time to work on it, and I'm still working on it, right? So it's not as if it's a 1 day or 2 day thing. It is a very long journey, right? Because food, we are very attached to food. If you don't get a meal one day, look at the level of anxiety you will have, right? I don't know about you, I have been very anxious when I don't get a meal, right? So in this sense, we are very deeply attached to food, right? So because the attachment is so big, it will take a lot of time to go away, but we can start somewhere, right? Now, in Indian system, generally you will see, and in fact in most systems of the world, when the food is kept on the table, after that either they pay gratitude or say grace, or in India we chant mantra, right? So there is again a lot of science behind this also. First thing, when the food comes in front of you and you don't actually consume it, right? You just look at it or you just smell it, right? So have you ever seen that your mouth begins to water, right? Especially when you like something a lot, right? So this is the mechanism of the body when you look at what you are going to eat but don't actually consume it for a while, right? Or you smell the food, right? Then it actually triggers the, again, production of saliva, which is very important for the breakdown of the food, right? So when we stop to say grace, when we stop to chant a particular mantra before eating, we are allowing the saliva production to start, right? If we immediately run towards the food, immediately consume it, then again we miss out on this gap, which is very essential for our own digestion, right? So next time you see food, just observe it for a few seconds and then start consuming it, right? Another thing that happens when we do this same thing is actually a very, again a very important thing. When you say something, whatever you speak, it has some impact on the other person, right? So suppose you and I, we are having a conversation, right? So depending on what tone I take and what tone you take, you will get something out of the tone as well, other than the words, right? So means there is some exchange that is going on within us, which between us, which we cannot actually put in tangible terms, right? So same in the case of food. When you sit, eat food, when you say grace, you are adding a lot of positive energy to what you are about to consume, right? You are even, I don't know where the food will come from, right? So many times we don't cook our own food, right? We don't know where the food comes from. Maybe somebody very angry is cooking the food, right? So they will add their anger into the food, right? So before you consume your food, it is good to stop, chant something positive, because that food is going to enter your body only, right? So when you chant something, it gives time for saliva production, and then it also changes the energy of your food, right? So if you don't believe in energy, it is still fine. You can try it, you can see what happens, and then we will have a discussion later, right? But it does change the quality of the food that you are consuming, right? So you can just be grateful for having food on your table. It could be as simple as that. I'm not asking you to go into any specific tradition or do any traditional practices. It's just being grateful for what you have on your table, right? So you can start doing this as well. In most traditions you will see this is a practice which generally takes place. People do take some time before they consume, right? In India specifically, there is one more practice. So out of whatever we are consuming, we share a part of that with the god or the deity we are devoted to, right? Again, the same purpose is served, right? One thing is a sense of detachment comes in. It's very hard to share our food, right? I don't know about you, but if I really like something, I will not share it no matter how close somebody is to me, right? I will not share my food, right? Means that in general, I have a lot of attachment to my food, right? So when I offer a part of it to something I believe in, or in India specifically, we have so many gods, right? So we generally offer the food to God. So it creates a sense of detachment. If I'm able to share out of what I really love, right, means that somewhere I'm taking a gap from it, right? I am reducing the attachment, right? So first purpose sharing of food serves is that it reduces the attachment. And second one, again, when you offer the food first to the god, then again you are creating some more time for saliva production, for your body to and your senses to actually see what you are about to consume, right? So these are few tricks that you can yourself apply. I'll just talk of one or two things briefly, and then we will move to pranayama because we'll practice also, right? So last thing in food that I want to discuss is how you should sit when you are consuming food, right? Because that is also very essential. So ideally, when you are consuming your food, you should sit on the ground in a cross-legged position, okay? So when we sit in a cross-legged position, we block the flow of the blood to the lower parts of the body, and the digestion has to take place in the abdomen. So what actually happens is, when you sit in a cross-legged position, you stop the blood flow and the major energy moves towards the digestion of the food, okay? Sitting on the ground is recommended. Again, it is a very good practice, and in a lot of places again you will see people sit on the ground only. So when you are sitting cross-legged, right, it's very hard to sit like this on a chair, right? So you guys can if you were saving up for some very ideal dining set or anything like that, so you can throw, you can just save up that money, or if you already have furniture, you can feel free to throw that away, right? Because any which way, you should sit on the ground and eat the food, right? And your hand should always be used to consume the food, right? So our hands, first thing again, it is the hand, the temperature that the food is at. If my hand is able to bear it, my mouth will be able to bear it, okay? So when we eat with the hand, eat the food with the hand, you will never burn your mouth, right? These days, even tea is served with a straw. Hot tea is served with a straw. So many people, they end up burning their mouth, right? So why is this happening? Because essentially we are not in contact with the food that we are eating, right? When we use the hands, we get to know the temperature, we get to know the texture, right? And then we take it to our mouth. Again, you are engaging one more sense, right, when you are consuming the food, which helps you to be more aware of the activity of consumption of food. Because most of the times, let's face it, I am consuming my food, either I am watching something or my mind is elsewhere only and I am just eating absent-mindedly. So the more senses I am able to engage, the better I am able to connect with my own food and the activity that I am currently doing. Basically, you have to come back to the activity you are currently doing, right? So consuming the food with the hands, it has its own, benefit, right, on so many other levels also. When you really love somebody, or it's your family member only, right, and you offer them food with your hand, right, the taste of the food changes, right? I still remember when I was ill, my sister, she was giving me food when I was ill, and because she was giving it with her hands, not with a spoon, with her hands, the taste of the food, even though I had fever, right? And in fever everything tastes very bad, but I could feel that thing, you know, the kind of energy her hands were adding, right? And I am not the only testament. So many people that I know, they go back to their home after work and everything, and they love it when their mom feeds them or when their loved one feeds them, because it does change it does capture that energy, the food of whoever is giving it, and when you are eating it yourself, it will add more of your energy to that food. So it will help you with that sense of connection with the food, right? So tomorrow I will talk more about food, what other tricks and tactics you can add into your lives. Feel free to take whatever you want to. Any questions so far? Any issues, any doubts? Sorry, I was... Okay. Sorry, can you repeat again one more time? Acha, oh, okay. No worries, you can attend as much as is possible for you. Yeah, don't worry about it, just attend as much as is possible for you. So we are going to talk on these kinds of topics only in these classes, especially yoga philosophy, right? Great, awesome. Yeah. Soumya. No worries. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's begin with pranayama now. So today we are going to cover the concept of yogic deep breathing. In the previous few classes we have covered the sectional breathings, right? So we have done the abdominal breathing, the thoracic breathing and the clavicular breathing in the previous class, and today we are going to go for a practice which is a combination of all three of them, right, which is called yogic deep breathing, right? So as the name suggests, this is the deep breath that you take and this is the full breath that you take, okay? So even though yogic deep breathing increases the oxygen level in your body, abdominal breathing is the best way to breathe throughout the day. So I will still stick to this thing. The yogic deep breathing is not the ideal way to breathe throughout your day. Abdominal breathing is, right? So coming back, right? So what is yogic deep breathing? It is a combination of the three sectional breaths, right? So it's also called the three-part breathing, yogic deep breathing. Other names that are most likely to be said for this practice is deep breathing only, right? So essentially what is happening in yogic deep breathing, you are activating the entire lungs, right? So you are making sure that all three lobes of the lungs, they are getting utilized. So the yogic deep breath can be understood with the analogy of a water bottle, right? So when you start filling up a water bottle, suppose you have an empty water bottle, right? So when you start filling up that water bottle, what begins to happen is that the water first fills the lower part of the bottle and then it moves up and reaches the neck of the bottle, all right? So in that same way, when we do yogic deep breathing, the abdomen expands, right? Then first the air, the breath will be felt in the form of the air filling up like in the lower lobes, which the indication of which is actually abdomen expanding. Then you will expand your chest and then eventually you will feel a rise in the collarbones, right? So and when you empty a bottle, again same analogy, first the upper portion of the water goes away, and then eventually you reach the lower portion of the bottle, then the water drains out completely. So in that same way, when we go for an exhalation and yogic deep breathing, again when we breathe out, first the collarbone should relax, then the thoracic region should relax, and then you should contract the abdomen in properly, right? Each exhalation will support the next inhalation, right? So you have to be very careful in this case. Why? Because what most people do is, first thing, they give less time to their exhalation, okay, which we are actually about to put to a balance. So each inhalation and each exhalation should be equal, right? In exhalation, we are not that much aware. So when we inhale more actively, and the exhalation is quite passive in its nature. So what actually happens is we forget to exhale fully, which means that the toxins are not expelled out properly, right? So when we exhale fully, right, so you have to contract your abdomen in properly, right? And your target should be that the navel gets as close to the spine as possible. This means proper contraction of abdomen. So when you practice yogic deep breathing, again the process is going to be just when you inhale, abdomen, chest, and then clavicular region, it expands, and then clavicular region, chest, and then abdomen contracts. Okay, so this is the technique, this is the practice. Yogic deep breathing is a great technique to correct your breathing pattern, to oxygenate the blood properly, to correct your posture. Yogic deep breathing is also very helpful if you are in a very stressful kind of state of mind or situation, and it is also very helpful if you have a difficulty in managing your anger, right? If you take a few deep breaths, when somebody is angry, we say that, take a few deep breaths, right? So what is this deep breath doing? It's helping us to calm the state of our mind. So in case of very stressful situations or anger, or if you are in general, you feel you don't have control over your emotions, right? And emotions are something you ideally shouldn't have control over. They are emotions after all. But if you feel that you get too reactive when you feel emotional, right? So suppose I get angry and I start shouting, I start hitting the things around me or throwing things away. So this is reactiveness to that emotion, right? Somebody who is angry could just be sitting and just trying to understand their anger, right? So if you feel the reactivity of the emotions is too much for you, then the practice of yogic deep breathing will help you greatly. Okay, so I will just demonstrate the practice one time, and then we are going to go for a practical session. So you can place one hand on your chest and place it on your chest so that you can feel your collarbones as well, right? So don't place the hand here, place it a little bit slightly up, and the second hand has to be placed on the abdomen, right? So however it suits you, place the hand on the abdomen, one on the chest, and now exhale fully. So always begin with an exhalation. Mouth will remain closed, you are only breathing through the nose. And now begin to inhale. Right. So this was one yogic deep breath. So basically, as you could see, first thing, there was no pause in my breath. Okay, so even if you weren't able to observe, I will briefly elaborate on what are a few other things, okay, which are necessary. First thing, because we are doing the 3 sectional breathings now together in the same breath, what a lot of students do, after abdominal breathing they will pause, then thoracic breathing they will pause, and then they will go for clavicular breathing, right? Because before this you have done them separately. So this should not be the case. The breath has to be taken in one go, and the movement is felt on all the 3 areas of the body, right? Same goes for exhalation, right? So next thing which is very important when you do yogic deep breathing is maintaining the smoothness of the practice. So sometimes what people do, when they take the breath in or expel the breath out, there is a lot of noise or force, right? Again, it is not smooth flow. You will create a sound like this. If I create the sound like this, this is something you don't have to do, right? As you saw when I was breathing, it was very natural, just deep. Okay. Third thing, when you do yogic deep breathing, because you have done the sectional breaths a lot before this, or even as much as you have done, it doesn't matter how much you have done, but because you have done the sectional breaths separately, right, not in one conjunction, so what happens is you start feeling that when I'm doing the yogic deep breath, my abdomen is not expanding as much as it should have, right? So of course it will not. Earlier your entire energy was going towards the movement of the abdomen only, or the entire breath was going towards that only, right? But now you are dividing the same breath, right? So when this thing happens, right, it is completely normal. Okay, it's not something to get worried about, right? So each and every portion, it will expand less than it would have if you would have done the separate sectional breathings, right? So we can begin with the practice now. These are all the points that you need to keep in mind. Yogic deep breathing, if you do it laying down, again, this is one of those practices that you can do while you are lying down. So it is easier to observe this practice when you are in Shavasana. So you can choose your posture. If you want to sit, you can sit. If you want to lie down in Shavasana, again, just make sure your posture is relaxed. Legs should be away, hands away from the body, right? Sorry, legs apart, hands away from the body, palms are facing upwards. And as you feel ready, gently close your eyes. Simply start observing the natural flow of your breath. Now slowly shift your attention to your body. Align your posture. Coming back to your breath. Now begin to deepen the breathing. Prepare yourself for the first practice. We will go for abdominal breathing. You can place one hand on your abdomen. Exhale fully. Now begin to inhale. As you inhale, expand your abdomen. As you exhale, contract your abdomen. Keep your attention focused on your abdomen. After your next exhalation, suspend your practice. Come back to the natural flow of your breathing. Prepare yourself for yogic deep breathing. So if you're lying down, place one hand on your abdomen and one on your chest. Same if you are sitting up. If you are sitting up, just straighten your back before we begin the practice. Exhale fully. Begin to inhale, and as you do so, feel the rise in your abdomen. Then slowly feel the chest expand. And fill in a little bit more air so that your collarbones also feel the air fill in, and there is a gentle rise in this part of the body. As you exhale, first allow the collarbones to relax. Relax the chest, and then exhale fully. Try to bring your navel as close to your spine as possible. This is one round of yogic deep breathing. Continue your practice inhaling and exhaling fully. Just try to gain more and more control over your breathing as you deepen your practice. Keep each inhalation and each exhalation equal, and experience the yogic deep breath. Just continue your practice for a few more breaths, experiencing the impact of yogic deep breathing, feeling the oxygen in the body increase, fill up the blood, reach each and every cell as you do yogic deep breathing. After your next exhalation, completely suspend the practice and observe the natural flow of your breathing. We will practice abdominal breathing for a bit. So just you can keep your hands relaxed only. Just as you inhale, feel your abdomen rise. As you exhale, contract your abdomen. Slowly suspend your practice. If you choose to lie down, start becoming aware of your natural breath. Start becoming aware of your body. And now begin to move your fingers and toes. Join your legs together and turn towards your left side. Make a cushion with the left hand to support your head. Place the right hand on the ground. When you feel ready, gently lift your body up. Keep your eyes closed, back and neck straight. For those of you who are sitting, again, if you feel the need, you can gently move your fingers, you can gently move your toes. Just see the state of your mind as we are about to end today's session. We will chant Om one time, followed by 3 Shantis. Take a deep breath in for Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Join your palms together and gently bow down. Now begin to rub your palms. Keep them on your eyes. We will do this one more time. Rub both your palms together. Keep them on the eyes. Very slowly, while blinking and looking at your palms, open up your eyes. Come back with a big smile on your face. Om Shanti. Namaste.